are sounds that live deep in our memory, right? The click of the enter key, the login appearing on the screen, and a world that would never again be just one game. Lineage 2 was not just where we created characters, it was where we created memories. The first castle sieges, the nights at the Vaca spots, Quetra, Forge of the Gods, the friends who would become brothers and even rivals who, without realizing it, helped shape who we are today. Each death in a PvP was a story to tell the next day at school. Each PK a tough choice, or sometimes even too easy. Each clan hall was a hard-earned achievement. We didn't play just to win, we played to belong. The clans were families, the alliances, pacts of honor. And who remembers the first subclass? Or the excitement of completing a third job that seemed like a distant dream, especially on a low server rate? The screen would simply freeze, the heart would race. We were heroes back then, not because we had the best gear, but because even though it was just a game, we had a desire to conquer that we lack for many things today. There was no VIP and no easy shortcuts, just the will. The internet cafe full of friends, and that dial-up connection that would drop right in the middle of the raid boss. And even so, what did you do? You went back. We always went back. And today, we try to relive all of that. But when we log in, we don't just find the mobs and the quests, we find who we used to be. That's what nostalgia is. The presence of absence. A longing that doesn't hurt. It only reminds us of who we were and what we used to do. Maybe what we seek when we jump from server to server is not the same lineage of in the past. What we seek is that feeling. It's friendship, the challenges, the unity with other players, that thrill before a siege that no current goal at your job can bring back. How is it possible, man? Or maybe even simpler than that. Who we seek in this game, who we were years ago. Nostalgia. According to some studies, and yes, I did some research to talk about this subject, so special and so trendy when you are, right? Talking about lineage in those conversations that might come up with your old friends. And nostalgia is not just a memory of the past, but rather an emotional reinterpretation of that event. Research shows that our memory filters these emotional experiences, emphasizing the positive side and minimizing the negative aspects. This explains why nostalgic moments, like having played Lineage in the past, is so intense and even better than it really was. I'm not saying, okay? I'm not saying here that playing Lineage wasn't special, quite the opposite, but your mind enhances it. It gives a boost to your memory, making that moment, that experience, even better in your memory. When you think in the experience of having played Lineage 10, 15, 20 years ago, the feeling you have is not exactly about the game in yes, but about what it represented at that moment in your life. The neuroscientist named Daniel Levitin said, "Our memories are not exact recollections of events, but recreations that change as we change." And that's exactly where the main point of this conversation lies. We change. If you play Lineage exactly as you played in the times of Gold, remember? The era of Holyu, DR Thunder, Revolution. Today, your experience would be different. Not because the game changed. It might have changed if we look at Lineage in its most current version. But if we look at Lineage in its interlude version, which was the same one you played 15, 20 years ago, actually, today you have, in terms of gameplay, there is a much more consistent experience. There were several connection problems, various things that happened back then, which today are much less frequent, or some of them in fact do not happen anymore. But even so, your experience is not as intense and as special as it was in the past. But it's not about the game. You're not the same anymore. You're no longer the same. Surely you don't have the same friends from back then. You don't have the same free time, the same concerns, or rather, the lack of them. from when you were a teenager. You no longer have someone to tell the next day, during school breaks or classes, about the achievements you accomplished playing Lineage the day before. Everything around you has changed. This reminds me of a phrase I heard from a content creator in the Tibia community, named captivated. He said something like this: "The door of nostalgia is a door that should not be opened. Leave it closed with the experience that marked you stored there." The idea is that you should not try to relive the same emotion you felt in the past, because it simply won't be the same. No matter what you do it, you are not the same person anymore. Everything around you has changed. Does this mean you should stop playing Lineage? No way. On the contrary, man. Lineage continues and will continue to be an incredible and timeless game. Especially for us who are getting older each day, it's getting harder to find a game that pleases us. Because games today are made for another generation. And Lineage has a gameplay proposal that no longer aligns with this format. Let's say, contemporary of games. But what I think is, if you allow yourself to relive, play the good old Lineage. Have this experience. Play with the mindset that you are going to live a new experience, adapted to your current reality, your stage of life, the friends you have today. And if you don't have friends to play with, make new friends, man. That's what we did years ago when we started playing on a server. And for sure, you're going to have an amazing experience. But it won't be the same experience that's cherished in your heart and mind from Lineage 15, 20, or 10 years ago. And one more important thing, value what you are living now. I have good memories and a lot of nostalgia for the games I played during my teenage years. But I wanted to bring a personal example from Brabus Club. 5 years ago, I was walking through the streets of the city where I live. And during that journey, I was precisely planning, dreaming of making the Brabus Club what it is today. So, today, I look back and I feel a great longing to be in that same place, taking that same path and dreaming that same dream. But today, after already managing to realize much of what was planned and dreamed back then, I still miss that moment. What I mean to say, using this as an example, is value your present moment. Because it is very likely that 5 to 10 years from now, when you look back on today, you will feel nostalgic about what is happening now, about your life as it is now. And maybe it is not the way you want it to be, but you will feel nostalgic about today. So, the tip I wanted to share, which may sound like it's taken from a self-help book, but I believe it's the purest truth, is appreciate your time, present. Don't think that your nephew, who is playing Valorant, won't miss playing Valorant when he is 10 years in the past. And he, just like us, will look at his friends, who will be in their 30s, and say, they don't make games like they used to. I think this is a cycle that can't be broken. So my advice is, don't be stuck only in nostalgia. It can serve as an incentive for you to live a special experience. And new, but never the same. If you are willing, I promised I wouldn't do any advertising in this Brabus Club content here. But the Brabus Club is a community of nostalgics for Lineage, if that term even exists, right? Like that. And here you will find many people who have revived, this nostalgia, to be able to play Lineage and live this new experience. So I'll leave the Discord link here for you to be a part of it. Also, put it in the comments, because when it comes to nostalgia, every Lineage player has an opinion about it. And not only will I read and respond to each of the comments that are placed here, but I'm sure other players who are watching this video will want to know what you have to share about this. So, leave a comment and join in. A big hug. I hope to see you in game, and we're in this together.